All right, a very good evening to you. I am meteorologist Jack Drake. Thank you very much to our sponsor, JLP Pro Services, for sponsoring the video. JLP Danbury's hometown roofing contractor. So, some fun weather to talk about. We got several systems coming in over the next week and a half. A very active winter pattern here. We're in our big snow month. February, historically, the month that gives us the most snow on average. Goes February, January, March, and then December. A lot of people don't realize that, but we are in the peak of our snow season. So I've got it queued up right here. This is the storm system that's coming in tomorrow morning. So this is Thursday morning. We're looking at right around 7 a.m. You'll notice snow, moderate snow already into Fairfield County here at 7 a.m. I really expect that snow to break out some point around 5:30 or 6 a.m. I think that's going to be when the first flakes really start to fly here. As we go through the morning, it's going to get heavier. There's going to be a brief window here between 7 and 10. The snow rates could approach an inch an hour in some areas. So it's not going to snow for a long time, but it could come down in a burst. We have very good dynamics here fueling this. You'll notice that the low is nice and tucked south of Long Island, and that's exactly what we want to see if we want to talk about winter weather, right? We want the low pressure to be to the south, and reinforce the cold air with that easterly wind, that northeasterly wind, and that's exactly what we're getting here. So you'll notice we turn into some icy mix on the GFS as we approach noon, 1, 2, and then at this point it's pretty light. I know it's still showing stuff, but this is probably just freezing drizzle at this point. Usually when the low's past us and it's over Nantucket, we're really not getting that much out of the storm anymore, right? You're just you're milking a little bit of drizzle, and that's about it. So this thing's out of here. One thing to note, I've been getting a lot of questions on tomorrow night. So let's take a look at the temperatures quick. I don't think we're going to freeze up. So you'll notice 36 degrees here. This is Thursday night, 36, 35, 36, 34. So we really stay above freezing all the way into Friday morning. So that's good news. Unless you're in like maybe extreme northern Litchfield County, you could get a few patchy spots of black ice or something like that. But it looks like we stay right around that freezing mark. And then the sun will be out on Friday. So hopefully it dries up any residual moisture before it can really freeze and cause any major issues on the roadways. But again, not expecting a big freeze up. I don't think you have to throw salt down like a maniac tomorrow night or anything like that. We should be okay. And then it was Friday, like I said, it'll be a nice day. Temperatures will kind of cool during the day. And that's key because that'll set up our next system that comes along. So I'll flip back to where we can see the precipitation here. So again, Friday, not a lot going on. Saturday, system starts to come in. This is Saturday night now. And this is it's a little bit of a colder look than the storm we just had. It's a similar structure in the sense that the low is sliding. Basically, we call them sliders. When they go west to east, they don't really go south to north. So this thing's sliding across, but there's a little bit more cold air in place. It's a little bit further south than the storm we're going to have tomorrow. So I would expect more snow, less mix. And the model's kind of hinting at that here. We may get into a little bit of mix. It's going to be tight. So southern areas, it's one of those situations where you're probably going to forecast mostly snow, but with the caveat that some sleet might mix in. So that's what I'm looking at for now. This is Saturday night. So I have that 8 p.m. Saturday night to 8 a.m. Sunday as the main timing for this. Now, this is a brand new model, so I actually haven't seen this yet. We're looking at it all together live. But this looks to me like it'll follow that same kind of timing trajectory here. Should be out by mid-morning on Sunday. So, exactly how much snow is this going to dump? The model's not all the way out yet, but the ensembles for this have really been showing a solid 3 to 6 inches. And it looks like it's about to do the same thing to me here. So 3 to 6, maybe even locally higher. If we can determine that we're going to be all snow in, say, northern Connecticut, I can probably start to draw in some higher numbers into that area. Maybe we talk about 8 inches or 10 inches or something like that. But right now, I think 3 to 6 is starting to look like a safe bet. Obviously, if the storm tracks trends a little bit farther north, we could get into some more mixing that would knock totals back down. So it's always that game we play with these systems. Hey, we're gonna get sleet in there. If we start getting sleet in the system, it really knocks down the totals. Freezing rain, obviously, the same thing. But either way, wintry mess coming in Saturday night and Sunday. And then let me show you the European run here. It's going to have a similar type. Maybe it's slightly north, but similar general idea. We'll rewind it all the way. So this is the storm that comes in tomorrow morning. Snow to mix, right? This has been well documented. Nice on Friday, and then this kind of the same thing here. So Saturday night after 8 p.m., we start seeing some light snow. That light snow is going to turn into moderate to potentially heavy snow at some point Saturday night. And then that low, it's just a matter of if it can slide a little farther south. If it gets a little farther south, it could be that all snow. European wants to bring sleet and mix and nastiness in here still, but it's still a pretty robust snow solution. We'll just look at the surface here, just get a little idea of the snowfall. I want to show 24-hour because I don't want the storms to it'll make it look worse than it is if I put tomorrow's storm on top of this storm, right? So this is the European, 4 inches on the coast, up to 10 inches on the CT border. And this is that Kuchar ratio that I like. So it really takes into account kind of the fluff factor. It's not just 10-1. If you use a 10-1 map in this situation, meaning 10 inches to snow to 1 inch of liquid rain, you'll get higher values down here where there's going to be sleet mixing in, and it's not going to look right. So that's another little trick that the social media meteorologists use, right? If they want to show a big snow map for the clicks, you just show it 10-1. I can show you that right now, right? And look at that. All of a sudden we have 6 inches in New York City, right? But it's really only going to be 3 to 4, the way the model wants to put it. So that's a little trick. But again, this is going to slide by, and then what everyone's asking me about now is the next storm. So you can kind of start to see that here as we head into, this is Tuesday. It's going to be Tuesday into Wednesday. Let me go to the previous run because it goes out a little longer. And that is another solid hit. So that was what folks are starting to kind of talk about. I saw 98Q put out a thing this morning. Oh, big storm, middle of next week. I love Rich Miner. I think Rich thinks he's a meteorologist sometimes. it's all love, man. It's all love. But yeah, I mean, it has that potential again. We're gonna have to see this shift. At this range, you're talking about what, like a week out, 6 days out. So you still have 200 to 300 miles of kind of cushion in the track based on normal model error, right? So this could slide back south and go south of us. It could go north. But right now, I mean, we are in a good spot. This would be a direct hit the way this is set up. So, I understand why some people want to, get excited about it in the weather community or not, right? And then, even if you go further in time, look, there's storms galore on this thing. Like it just doesn't stop. So, this one comes in the 17th. If anyone's keeping score, I mean, that's what, 12 days from now. So. Don't take this at face value, but this was a huge hit up in like Massachusetts and Boston area, 20 inches, like crazy numbers here, right? So again, I think the main point is like the pattern is going to be super, super active. And it's just going to be, there's going to be a lot of storms to track here. We'll take some comments. Always enjoy the comments. Yeah, so Eric, I think we talked about it a little bit, but the Danbury area looking at between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. Targeting snow start time tomorrow. Probably a little closer to 6, but give or take a few minutes. Plowable, I think it's plowable. I mean, we're talking about 2 or 3 inches, Greater Danbury. Yeah. So it's really the whole Northeast that gets hit, right? She's talking about Pennsylvania, but the whole Northeast, it gets hit. Meteorologist does never sleep, especially when it snows. I used to call it team snow sleep. That was my little. I used to hashtag that when that was cool, like 2014. Hi, Leah. I'd like to request next week's Snow to be isolated to Monday, Tuesday, and only mornings, please. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. The Wednesday especially looks like it's gonna be tough, but I'll do the best that I can. Yeah, so snow days galore. That's the other thing, right? If you were waiting for your snow day, this was a lot of towns' first snow day, especially on the shoreline. We've had some delays here in Greater Danbury. I think Danbury itself had that water main break that caused a school day. When I go around to the schools, all the kids always remind me of that. We had a weather related school day, right? One of the pipes broke. It's like semi weather related, but yeah, a lot of folks' first snow day tomorrow, which is exciting. Natasha, driving conditions tomorrow. Again, I think the morning's going to be rough. So between that 6:30 to 7 a.m. start window and noon, it's going to be rough. But afternoon, when we get into more of that drizzle and temperatures are closer to 35 than they are 30, I think roads will start to just get wet once they're treated. So we should be okay in the afternoon mostly. If the schools had a 5-hour delay or something like that, they probably could have went, right? But they don't. So when you talk about heavy snow at 10 a.m., usually that's enough to close school. Yeah, Paula, very similar question here. I think I think pretty much afternoon we can kind of say the storm's done in a sense. I would definitely watch out on any untreated surfaces. Afternoon, we could get some freezing drizzle. That's never fun, but usually by midday, salt on the road, temperature 32 to 34 degrees. Some of those untreated surfaces will become slick, but the total societal impact goes way down. All right, Mark, my buddy. Mark's a great spotter up in New Fairfield for me. Gets great snowfall totals. Yeah, so he's talking about if we can get a pattern that's ripe for a blizzard. Yeah, right now we're in kind of that fast moving pattern. It's good to see some snowstorms though, as opposed to what we were seeing like a couple weeks ago, which was just ridiculous cold and no precipitation at all. Right? We had our drought status go back to a major drought. 10 a.m. tomorrow, flight out of New Haven. That's New Haven, right? Yeah. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, I think. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. I didn't know that the National Weather Person's Day thing was a thing. So thank you. I had a lot of comments today, and I was like, oh, I guess I had no idea it was today. I forget every year, apparently. Yeah, will the rain melt whatever accumulation there is tomorrow? So this is actually a tricky question because I think the answer is no, it will not melt. I think temperature is going to be. We'll show you temperatures later. Let me pull it up quick. All right. Sometimes I forget. I'm sitting right here. I can just show you. I don't have to always talk about it, right? All right. Let me pull up. Well, we're going to pull up a short range. We're going to zoom in. It's going to be good. Okay, so everyone can see this a little bit easier, hopefully. This is right now, so don't be too alarmed. It is cold tonight. Let me go back one run here. So we start getting to 32 here, right about 11, between 11 and 12. And then we slowly creep above 32 as we head through the rest of the afternoon, right? So 32 or 33 in Danbury here, 32 in Waterbury. This is 1 p.m. now. And you're going to kind of see, I mean, it doesn't go quite far enough, but you start seeing some 34s and 35s kind of creep in. You do see cold air get stuck in the Connecticut River Valley here. That's kind of cool. But generally, the I-84 urban corridor here from Danbury to Hartford, right around or just above freezing. And that is not going to melt anything, right? So even if we get plain rain at 34 or plain drizzle, it usually doesn't melt much. So I don't think it'll melt, but it won't be impactful on the roads. It's kind of a weird thing to try to describe. I hope I did that well. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you. Oh, Westchester. Yeah, sorry, Westchester. I mean, same idea, right? I should know those off the top of my head, but I apologize. Thank you, Nina. Really, really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, right? So we talked about tomorrow. I think we got down, really locked in on that one. I don't expect any major changes. Saturday night looks also like it's locked in. That, when the storms take these kind of tracks where they go over the middle of the country, the models can just handle it better. It's kind of amazing. You know, the storms that usually we have really hard time with are storms that form over the ocean, or a component of them is trying to, the low is trying to form off the Carolina coast and then work up, and we're trying to see exactly how far back west the snow can go, and that can get really, really tricky. But for the storms that kind of do this wintry mix thing, usually it means they're tracking over the middle of the country, and then you're getting kind of a secondary low to form close to us. And the models just handle it so much better. And I'll show you kind of what I mean by that. So let me go back to global here. So what I'm trying to talk about the storm track is like, it's literally over the middle of the country. So this is our storm today, right? And it's going to track pretty much west to east latitudinally. So this, I think it came in, if you backtrack it enough, this thing came in over Oregon. And usually the rule of thumb is, or Northern California, the rule of thumb is it kind of leaves where it entered, right? So if it comes in at this latitude, it's going to leave at this latitude, right? So usually that kind of rule applies. And then the next storm, right? Same deal. Came in from the Pacific Northwest, California. It's probably going to leave somewhere in here in a few days, and it does pretty much exactly that, right? So the models generally, it's going over a lot of land area where there's better sampling. We have better readings. They just handle it better. And the next one, kind of the similar deal. Now this one's trying to develop some energy off the coast, so that might be a little trickier, but you can tell this wants to be a big storm. Thank you, Paula. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Pat. You guys are the best. No, you guys are the best. But no, I really do appreciate it. I'm gonna hop off because it's late and I want to wake up for the first flakes. So that's always the goal. But thank you very much, and feel free to put any questions in the comments. I'll try to get to them. And have a happy snow day tomorrow.